10 p.m. on deadline day. Wrexham officials frantically arranging a medical in Glasgow. Blackburn Rovers setting what they called a high price. Certain Hollywood's club would walk away. And yet, hours later, everything changed with one signature that would define Wrexham's championship season. Alright Wrexham fans, if you love the Red Dragons like I do, smash that subscribe button right now, because what I'm about to tell you is exactly why this club is different from every other team in English football. Let's dive in. Ryan Reynolds and McElhenney just proved something that every doubter needs to hear. They don't just throw money at problems, they make calculated gambles that change everything. When Wrexham sanctioned a massive £33 million summer spending spree after winning League Two, everyone focused on the big names. The £6.5 million for Ben Sheaf from Coventry. The loan deal for Manchester City's Issa Kabor. Proper championship-level signings, no question. But there was one deal that almost didn't happen. One centre-back that Blackburn Rovers tried desperately to keep by pricing Wrexham out of the market. A 29-year-old with 1 year left on his contract that Rovers gaffer openly admitted they never expected anyone to pay that much for. His name? Dom Hyam. And right now, as Wrexham sit comfortably in 15th place in the championship, 4 points clear of Blackburn in 19th, that £2.7 million deadline day panic buy is looking like the shrewdest bit of business Phil Parkinson's ever done. This isn't just about one player. This is about Wrexham proving they belong in the championship, that they can go toe-to-toe with former Premier League clubs. That Hollywood money means nothing without proper football brains behind it. But to understand how we got here, we need to go back to those final chaotic hours of deadline day. Picture this. It's the summer of 2024, and Wrexham have just achieved the impossible. Back-to-back promotions. National League champions in 2023. League Two champions in 2024. From the depths of non-league football to the championship in just 3 years. The racecourse ground was absolutely buzzing. Welcome to Wrexham had turned a working-class Welsh town into a global phenomenon. But Phil Parkinson knew something that the cameras didn't always show. League Two success means nothing if you can't survive in the championship. The second tier of English football is brutal. It's where former Premier League giants go to rebuild. Where multi-million-pound squads battle it out week after week. Where one bad transfer window can condemn you to a relegation fight before you've even kicked a ball. So Parkinson went to Wyke. Reynolds and McElhenney backed him with unprecedented funds for a newly promoted club. The message was clear. We're not here just to compete. We're here to establish ourselves. Ben Sheaf arrived from Coventry for £6.5 million, a midfielder with championship experience who knew exactly what this level demanded. Issa Kabor came in on loan from Manchester City. Pace, quality, Premier League pedigree. The squad was taking shape. But there was a problem. At the back, Parkinson still wasn't satisfied. He'd built Wrexham's success on solid defensive foundations, and he knew that championship forwards would expose any weakness. He needed a leader, an organizer, someone who'd been there and done it at this level. His first target was Bristol City's Zach Viner. Makes sense, right? Experienced championship defender, knows the league inside out. Wrexham made their move. Bristol City said no. Then they said no again. The door was firmly shut. Deadline day was approaching. The window was closing, and Parkinson was running out of options. That's when Dom Hyam's name came up. The Blackburn Rovers centre-back had been absolutely immense the previous season, playing every single minute of their championship campaign. Every single minute. That's 46 matches of pure consistency, the kind of reliability you dream about. But here's the thing. Hyam only had 1 year left on his contract. In normal circumstances, that means a club might listen to offers. Get some money rather than lose him for free the following summer. Blackburn weren't normal about this. They wanted to keep him. Badly. So when Wrexham came calling, Rovers did what clubs always do when they don't really want to sell. They set what they openly called a high price. The kind of fee designed to make the other club walk away. Around £2.7 million for a 29-year-old with 12 months left on his deal. Behind closed doors at Ewood Park, there were probably smirks. Maybe even a bit of satisfaction. They priced Wrexham out. Hollywood's club would surely move on to someone else. Someone cheaper. Someone younger. They were wrong. Sunday evening, hours before the deadline, Phil Parkinson made a decision that would define Wrexham's season. He told the board, "We're going for Hyam." The clock was ticking. Wrexham officials scrambled into action. Negotiations with Blackburn stretched on, and on, and on. The kind of deadline day madness that makes directors of football question their career choices. But there was a massive problem. Dom Hyam wasn't even in England. He was in Glasgow, with the Scotland national team, on international duty. Think about that for a second. You've got hours to complete a £2.7 million transfer, and your target is in another country. You need to arrange a medical, get contracts signed, make it all official before the deadline. Most clubs would have walked away. Too complicated, too risky, too much pressure. Wrexham's response? Sorted. Reports from the Daily Mail revealed that negotiations kept Wrexham officials working past 10 p.m. on deadline day. While other clubs were celebrating their deals, Wrexham was still frantically arranging logistics. A medical in Glasgow, paperwork flying between North Wales and Scotland, every minute counting down. Can you imagine the tension? One delay, one complication, and the whole thing collapses. The championship season starts in days, and your manager's priority signing is hanging by a thread. But they got it done. Dom Hyam signed a 2-year deal. The news broke late on deadline day. Wrexham had their man. The reaction from Blackburn Rovers? Fury. Absolute fury from the fans. Their best defender from last season, the man who'd played every minute, was gone. Sold to a newly promoted club for money that Rovers hierarchy later seemed to regret accepting. Manager Valérien Ismaël tried to justify it publicly. He told the Lancashire Telegraph that they'd rejected 2 previous offers, that they'd set a high price specifically to make Wrexham walk away. But when Wrexham came back and met it, Rovers had a choice. Take the money for a player with 1 year left, or risk losing him for free next summer. The financial logic made sense. But here's what Ismaël said that reveals everything. I think the time was on our side. The pressure was there on their side to make the decision. He thought Wrexham were desperate, that the pressure would force them into a mistake or make them pull out. What he didn't realize is that when Phil Parkinson identifies the right player, Wrexham don't panic, they commit. And Blackburn, they took the money and probably convinced themselves they'd got the better deal. Wrexham supporters were cautiously optimistic. £2.7 million is serious money, even with Hollywood backing. For a 29-year-old with 1 year left on his contract, some fans questioned whether it was value. Social media had the usual split, trust in Parkinson versus concerns about overpaying. The national media raised eyebrows. It was a big fee for a player in Hyam's position. Blackburn's comments about the high price got plenty of attention. There were suggestions that newly promoted clubs with wealthy owners sometimes overpay because they are desperate. But inside the Wrexham dressing room, different story entirely. From his very first training session, Dom Hyam brought exactly what Parkinson needed. Leadership, organization, championship experience, the kind of presence that makes everyone around him better. 8 appearances into his Wrexham career, and the numbers tell a story that Blackburn Rovers really don't want to hear. Hyam hasn't just been solid, he's been outstanding. So good that Parkinson handed him the captain's armband for recent matches. Let that sink in. A deadline day signing wearing the armband within weeks of arriving. That's the impact he's made. The evidence. Wrexham's last 3 games before their Coventry victory, 7 points collected. A 1-1 draw at second-placed Middlesbrough. Results against promotion-chasing sides. Championship survival suddenly looking comfortable rather than desperate. After Wrexham's 1-1 draw with Birmingham, Parkinson couldn't hide his admiration. He called Hyam a colossus in defense, said he's been outstanding since arriving, gave him the kind of public praise that managers usually reserve for players they trust with their careers. Then came Friday evening. Coventry City at the racecourse. Frank Lampard's side, unbeaten all season, sitting top of the championship table. The kind of fixture where newly promoted clubs usually just try to avoid embarrassment. Wrexham won 3-2. Dom Hyam was immense. Again. Meanwhile, down in Lancashire, Blackburn Rovers sit in 19th place. 4 points behind Wrexham. And that high price they set to keep Hollywood's club away. Starting to look like the bargain of the summer. This transfer tells you everything about how Wrexham operate under Reynolds and McElhenney. They don't just splash money around for headlines. They trust Phil Parkinson's judgment completely. When he says he needs a player, they back him. Even when the price looks steep, even when the logistics are a nightmare. even when other clubs are trying to play games with valuations. For Wrexham's championship survival hopes, Dom Hyam has been transformational. The difference between a defense that looks nervous against experienced forwards and one that can go to Middlesbrough and come away with a point. Between getting battered by top teams and beating league leaders at home. This reminds me of the gambles that defined Wrexham's rise through the leagues. When they brought in Paul Mullen from Cambridge, people questioned whether a National League striker could make the jump. He became a legend. When they appointed Phil Parkinson, some wondered if he was the right fit. He delivered back-to-back promotions. The Hollywood ownership narrative has always been about more than just money. It's about trusting football people to make football decisions and backing them completely. That £2.7 million for Dom Hyam proves it. That midnight scramble to arrange a medical in Glasgow proves it. And for Blackburn Rovers, it's a reminder that sometimes protecting your high-priced reputation isn't worth losing the player who might keep you out of a relegation fight. What happens next? Wrexham have momentum. 15 matches into their championship campaign. They are not just surviving, they are comfortable. With Hyam marshalling the defense and captain's armband on his sleeve, they've got the leadership to kick on. The championship is relentless. 4 to 6 games of absolute warfare. But with defenders like Dom Hyam, suddenly promotion to the Premier League doesn't sound quite so impossible anymore. From Hollywood glamour to deadline day panic in Glasgow. From National League underdogs to championship giant killers. This is what Wrexham have become. A club where £2.7 million deadline day gambles work out because the people making decisions actually know what they are doing. Every doubter who said the money would be wasted, every rival fan who called it desperation, every pundit who questioned the fee. Dom Hyam's answered them all without saying a word. Just by doing what he does best, defending like his life depends on it. That's Wrexham. That's our story. From the racecourse to the championship, we do things differently. And right now, it's working. Let me know in the comments, was it the right call paying £2.7 million for Hyam? Hit like if you're backing Wrexham no matter what. Subscribe if you want more Red Dragons content. And I'll see you in the next one. Come on you Reds!